Hi cosplayers, I'm Leah and today we're going to talk about painting in cosplay, and more precisely about Flexipaint.
You don't know Flexipaint? Well, I will just introduce it to you. Flexipaint has been created by the company Taiji Supplies based in the UK. They are also selling plenty of different cosplay products, so if you're interested, their website is linked in the description below. So Flexipaint is basically a paint with many interesting features for cosplay making, such as a very high flexibility, durability. It's also latex free and non-toxic. In fact, one of the main goals of Taiji Supplies while creating this product was to make something which was easy and safe to use at the same time. On the label you can also read that Flexipaint bonds to plenty of different surfaces. I only had the opportunity to use it on EVA foam, but I saw a lot of different cosplayers using it on fabrics and latex, and it also works very well. I have recently watched a video on Taiji Supply's YouTube channel where they show how to use Flexipaint to get a really nice metallic finish, and I didn't trust this video, so I instantly bought everything I needed to test it out myself, and this was my result. Interesting, yeah? So through this video I wanted to show you how I made this piece and a couple of examples of different metallic finishes that you can get with Flexipaint. Then I hope you will enjoy this video, and let's get into the supplies that you will need. So first you're going to need some Flexipaint Clear, because it will dry out transparent, which means that it doesn't contain any kind of pigment. Which is perfect, because we're going to use some metallic powder pigments. I've got some silver grey pigment and some silver black, which is a little bit darker. This powder is pretty volatile, so please wear a dust mask and some gloves, not like me. You will also need some silicone oil, a cup to mix your paints, and a flat brush. You are first going to mix a little bit of pigment with a few drops of water. It will make the pigment easier to mix with Flexipaint later. Then just add a little bit of Flexipaint. The ratio is pretty random, but if your mixture is too liquid, just add a bit of Flexipaint. Because if it's too liquid, it will create some drops in the corners and on the edges, and it will not look great. Mix it well and then you can apply it. Be careful not applying it too thick or you will get some ugly brush strokes. Here my mixture was still a little bit too liquid, so I added more Flexipaint to it. If you add too much Flexipaint into the mixture, you may have to add a bit more pigment because the ratio will not be exact, so it may not cover your piece very well. So this is how my first coat looked like, and while it's drying you can just put your pigment back into its bag. Now my first coat is dry and you can see that the piece is not covered very well. So I'm just adding a little bit more pigment to my previous mixture, and then I'm just brushing it on my pieces. During this process you really want to make your surface as smooth as possible, so use really light strokes with your brush after putting on your coat to really smooth it out and make it even. This is how the pieces looks like with the second coat dry. You can add a couple more coats of Flexipaint if you want, but usually 2 works fine. Now here comes the most important part of the process. Just pick a little bit of powder, grab a tissue, a piece of cloth, a sponge, and rub it onto your surface. This is going to do all the magic for you and make your metallic finish really stand out. You can see that it really doesn't look the same after the buffing. Once you're done with the buffing, you can protect your piece with a little bit of silicone oil on tissue or a piece of cloth as well. Just make sure to remove the excess of silicone oil with the dry side of the cloth. Here I'm showing you with the masking tape that there's basically not any difference between the surface with and without the silicone oil. So don't worry, it will not make your piece look more shiny or more matte. It's just like a satin finish. These are all my test pieces. Here we have some silver grey powder, here some silver black, a silver grey with some weathering, and here we have the clear Flexipaint. I have not thinned the Flexipaint at all for this application, so this is why you can see many brush strokes. By the way, I have used the same brush for every single application here. So here you can see the raw foam and the Flexipaint clear. You can also use Flexipaint clear as a top coat for your pieces, but keep in mind that it will stay a little bit shiny. The Flexipaint clear and silver grey mix without any buffing looks pretty much like any kind of metallic acrylic paint. And here is the same piece but with buffing. You can see it makes pretty much a difference. This one is also a silver grey mix, but this time I have buffed it with some silver black powder, so you can see that it creates a little bit of shadows. So this is silver black with silver black buffing, and you can see that it is way darker than the silver grey piece. You can also notice that it is a little bit more shiny than the silver grey piece, but this is maybe a mistake from me. Well, in fact, this is more like a steel effect, while the silver grey is more like an aluminum color. I just wanted to try to buff the silver black with some silver grey, and it didn't appear to work very well. And this is a test piece where I tried to reproduce a classic metallic effect by doing some texture and some battle damage and weathering. So you can see that the Flexipaint didn't fill the details. On this part I used some silver grey pigments. I have also done a black wash and some black and silver dry brushing with some silver acrylic paint, and I have also used a little bit of oil paint to add a little bit of rust in the corners. I just had a little bit of fun with this piece. So the shine has been a little bit altered by the wash, but as you can see, if I put a little bit of powder back on the piece, it will give it its shine a bit more, but don't overdo it. And it's still flexible, of course. I have also done a little bit of weathering on my test piece I showed you earlier in the video, so I'm going to add a little bit more pigment to it again. So here it is, the goal of this video was to show you how to use some Flexipaint with some metallic powder pigment to get this metallic finish on your foam pieces. If you have any question about the product, the application or anything, just feel free to leave it in the comments. I will be happy to answer it. Then I hope this video was helpful for you and at least that you appreciate it. Don't forget to leave a little like and maybe subscribe to my channel to see more tutorials in the future. Thank you so much for watching this video until the end, and see you later for more tutorials, videos or just another cosplay. Bye!